Hi, everyone. Welcome to our webinar this afternoon.
Hi.
Hi, we have a great conversation coming up today, and we are live for the next 30 minutes or so. So I have some questions prepared for our two wonderful guests here today. And if you're watching this live and you'd like to jump in with any questions, just know that if you put them in the chat or the comments section, we will be able to see those in real time. We can respond directly to them. So it should make for a great conversation. So feel free to jump in if you're watching and you have anything that you'd like to add. But my name's Hannah. I am our Educational Marketing Associate here at Family Source. I am also a one-time surrogate myself, so I delivered my first and only surrogacy was last summer, so about a year out. And today we're going to be talking specifically with Rebecca and Jerome about the relationship between intended parents and surrogates. So it should be a great conversation for, based on their experience, but also their professional experience working now with surrogates and intended parents themselves. So Rebecca, can you get started by just telling us a little bit about yourself and your professional background?
Of course, yes. Hi, Rebecca. I am a 2-time surrogate and 5-time egg donor. And I also work in the egg donor department as an egg donor coordinator. Just celebrated 1 year with Family Source Consultants.
Perfect. Thanks, Rebecca. And then Jerome.
Yes, I'm an intended parent, and since 3 years, when my son was born, I work with Family Source Consultants to help intended parents and to share experience and something like that.
Perfect. So now your journey together, can you talk us through kind of your personal experience? Obviously, you all know each other pretty well. So when did your journey start together? Jerome, if you want to get started, because typically intended parents kind of get started in the process before the surrogates then join. So when did you decide to become an intended parent? What did that journey look for you in the beginning stages?
Yeah, it was because our son was born in 2020, so it was in 2019 because it was fast with the process. The matching process was easier. So I think the pregnancy was in June 2019. So I think the process to the contract and so on, it was in 2019, I think. Yes.
Okay.
And the
so
matching process, was the end of 2018. We know each other since 2018. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry for my English.
No, please. So I know it's probably hard to even remember back. There was a whole pandemic in the middle there, so I'm sure it's been a minute. So did you get the opportunity then to review profiles, or how did you decide that you wanted to even speak with Rebecca to have that match meeting?
Yes, for the process, we write a folder about us, intended parents, and it's the same for surrogates. So we had Rebecca's profile to read the profile. And so with the profile, we would like to meet her. So it was easier with the manager to meet her in a video call with Zara. So it was nice. And it was the first conversation. And I think really soon we would like to share who we are and something like that. So we give us our phone number, and we had a lot of message as WhatsApp and something like that. Because when we match, I remember because it was just the night before going to United States to go to the clinic for the embryos creation. So we had our meeting. I remember it was 9 p.m. and at 2 a.m. on the night we fly to Florida. So
oh my gosh, for the embryos.
It was nice. Yes. So it was a good remember for me.
It's a busy couple days. And then Rebecca, did you receive then multiple intended parents profiles, or what did the match process look like on your end as the surrogate?
I did actually. So, coming into this, being a 2-time surrogate, I knew a little bit more about what I was looking for in my second journey. Oh my gosh, it was so sweet. I remember Jerome and Michelle asking if it's okay that they don't, English isn't their first language. We, might have a little bit of a language barrier there. Because that was a big piece, for matching. And in my mind, I was thinking, oh, did I set firm on that? Did I scare them away because I said that, I want intended parents that I can, communicate more openly with. I guess that was kind of my wish, and asking for intended parents that, spoke a little more English, because my last intended parents didn't speak any English, and communication was very slim and rare, far and few between. Emails, that was basically it. But no, we hit it off right after, meeting. I did go through 2 profiles, 2 intended parents, and ended up having to break the match just because of clinic requirements, or, maybe not getting, I think, pre-approval from one of the clinics as well. So there was additional steps for me too, and there was some heartbreaks with having to, step away from the second intended parents that I was going to match with. And then, ran into Jerome and Michelle and just fell in love with them after the first meeting. It was, I loved it. It was very exciting. There's just so much when it comes to the matching portion that, it's one meeting, right? You're trying to put everything in one meeting. And so we wanted to jump on, exchanging contact information very soon after. And funny thing is, we actually had open communication with the egg donor as well.
Yes.
So, between the 3 of our groups,
yes,
it was such a fun journey.
I was going to say, that just sounds like a cool team who's all working together.
Yes. And I think it's the reason why it works, because if we are close in this process, it's easier for the embryo to pursue the pregnancy, because effectively with our groups, because we had a fresh embryo transfer, so they were cycling together. So it's better if each people speak and about the process. So yes, it was nice, and it works.
Yeah, I remember the egg donor sending us a picture of her bloated belly when she was stimulation.
Yes.
Wonderful girl.
Yeah.
So did you, when you met initially then, did you talk about the kind of relationship and communication you wanted throughout the pregnancy as well as after the birth? Is that something that came up? And what did that look like on all ends?
Yeah, so I know for me, I told them, that with 3 children and having a very heavy workload, that the communication might be, not as open as maybe like a friendship, you know what I mean? Like every day back and forth communication. So I just made it kind of clear to them that, hey, I'm very busy with 3 kids and a job. There's times where I even forget to, text my grandmother back. So I wanted to make sure that, they knew that I was always there to support them, even if communication wasn't as open as it, it probably could have been. So I made them aware of my schedule, and let them know that I'm here to support them regardless of, the communication. So,
yeah, I think that's really important to note that, like, that's what worked for you. I think there's kind of almost a misconception out there that intended parents all need to be in all the details because that's what they all want, and all the surrogates want that regular communication. But I think as long as you're on the same page about whatever kind of communication and consistency and type of communication happening, that's kind of the most important part. So it sounds like what worked best for you was, more sporadic checking in, and still having that open line of communication without like daily updates and things like that. And then Jerome, did that work for you then on the receiving end?
Yes, because as Rebecca, we had our lives, so it was what was good for Rebecca, it was good for us, because it's important to be positive and to be not stressed with the baby during the pregnancy. So I think it was easier. And during the pregnancy, we went to United States, so we meet each other. So we prepared the travel and a lot of things. So it was easy, I think. And because it's like a human relation, so we built it. So I think the major point is that, because we meet a person. So at the beginning, we try to know each other, and after that, we organize the communication as it's comfortable for each person. So yes, it was smoothly, we say in English.
Yeah. And then
easy.
Yeah, exactly. And the first time that you met in person, then, was it at the transfer then? When?
No, it was before.
Wow.
Yeah, before. It was yes, it was during our first. Yes, it was with Zara. We eat a breakfast or something like that. I remember it was in Florida. No, I don't remember exactly.
Yeah,
Yes,
I know.
it was in
For
Florida.
me and you, we met in person right before Christmas.
Yes.
Right. That was our first time meeting in person. Me and you and Michelle.
Yes.
Did he come out? I know. I get it confused because they were so close together. They came out in December.
Yes.
And then in February.
Yes, because we went in United States 2 times. No, 3 times, because for the embryo creation.
I was gonna say before the pregnancy
and
happened.
yes, and on December. And for the birth. Yes, cool. It was in December. And the first time, for me, it was in the restaurant. I don't remember exactly. It's crazy.
Now that isn't typical, right? For international intended parents, a lot of the time, sometimes they're not even meeting in person until delivery. So that's really cool that you were even able to meet before.
Yeah. I remember it was for the ultrasound now, on the parking on the ultrasound. And we go the first time now, when we meet each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, we wait on the waiting room.
Yeah, we had the pandemic come and everything.
The room and the parking.
When was your transfer then that ended up being successful?
Yeah, so we had transfer in June of 2019.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. And then, you really went right into the pandemic then, huh?
Right into it. Did not see it coming. It completely blindsided us. And then Jerome and Michelle, they had to hurry up and leave, within 1 week after he was born, or was it 2 weeks? I can't remember how long it was after birth. The borders. So
yeah, right. 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, so let's talk about then delivery a little bit. So what kinds of conversations did you have before delivery, leading up to delivery, about when they were going to come out to be in the area, who was going to be in the room, what did delivery look like, all of those things? What happened before delivery to prepare for it?
I feel like, at least for me personally, I feel like we took very much an open-minded approach to it. We told the doctors what we wished. We want at least one of the dads. I had to have a C-section, so we said we want at least one of the dads in the room for the delivery, and then I had my partner in the room as well with me. But planning beforehand, I feel so bad. I gave Family Source Consultants probably a run for their money, because I changed providers very late in the pregnancy. I was trying to go for a VBAC after having 2 C-sections. So, you know, that was important for me to find a doctor that was supportive, and my doctor started getting kind of silly towards the end of the pregnancy. So we ended up switching to a midwife, and then, yeah, I had to change everything around. I think I was 36 or 37 weeks pregnant.
When you change providers?
When I changed providers, yeah. So I changed providers, changed the hospital I was going to deliver at. So I delivered at a hospital. It's a university hospital that's a lot more open to newer research within the realm of VBAC. I did so much research and I printed off so much paperwork.
Sure.
Those poor doctors. But Jerome and Michelle were very supportive through that decision. And I know, you know, obviously when it comes to switching from a doctor to a midwife, we had a lot of questions as to how the support would look like in the hospital. But no, everybody was great. We ended up having another C-section unexpectedly. Little guy, he flipped head up, and they did an ultrasound when I went past my due date and realized that he had no water around him. So it was, we had to go to the hospital, have a baby that day. Again, approaching it very open-minded, at least I know for me, helped with that process because it was emotional, you know, knowing that I was going to have another C-section. But Jerome and Michelle were so supportive. My midwife she sat on the phone with me for 45 minutes, you know, and helped me through the emotions. And then we went to the hospital, and it was very busy at the hospital, right, Jerome? There was a lot of people.
Yes.
Yes. Everybody was having babies that day, so.
Yes.
It's always how it works out, right?
We were supposed to deliver at 2. I don't think we delivered until 6 p.m.
Wow.
It took us a while.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gosh. So then, Jerome, how did you feel about Rebecca changing providers with a few weeks to go? Was that stressful for you? Did you just trust the process? What was that like?
No, because for us, it was important that Rebecca was not stressed. So if it was important for her to change, we were there for to help her in this direction. So it was not difficult for us, and I think it's like to follow a person because I think that on my side, intended parents has to follow the surrogate, and the surrogate has to follow the intended parents. So we follow each other, and I think the most important thing is that all is good for the baby. So if intended parents and surrogate mother are not stressed, and if we speak together, it's nice because before Paul was born, I was with Rebecca at home, so we had time to speak about delivery and so on. So it was easier because I think the most important thing is to speak. So if we speak, it's not a problem. I think it's different if the person doesn't speak very well or something like that.
Communication is definitely
Yes.
key when it comes to
Yes. Yes.
to surrogacies. And I can't begin to describe how supportive, you know, Jerome and his partner were during the whole pregnancy. Really, if I could clone and, you know, have 1 million babies for 1 million Jerome and Michelles, I would. Because they were just absolutely wonderful the whole time.
Yeah. And that communication piece, I think, is huge. And like we said, there's not a right or wrong way to do it. It's really just what works best for you all, even just down to figuring out if, like you said, Rebecca, email might be best for some intended parents and surrogates. Sometimes it's texting, sometimes it's calling. You know, my intended parents were local, and so we would go to lunch and dinner sometimes,
Yeah.
and we just check in that way. So if you have the opportunity to do those sorts of things and you want to, those types of connections, I think, are just really important in the process. So
and
then
I think what is I think that what is really easy because we don't use to in France. In United States, it's possible to have a video call even with the doctor for the ultrasound. I remember, so it was really important for us. So I think for international parents, it's not a problem because we can use video call and something like that even at the hospital. And to share information.
What tool did you all use for video calling? Was it Zoom?
WhatsApp.
Was it
WhatsApp we used. Yeah.
That's easy.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that works really well. Then after delivery, so obviously your situation was a bit different delivering so close to the start of the pandemic. Was it February? Was it March? When?
Yeah, February 21st.
No. Yeah, that's my son was born March 10th. So yes, we were all in that boat right there. But obviously that changed maybe your plans after birth, but what did that look like then? Baby was born. Did you all stay in separate rooms in the hospital for a couple of days? Like, how long were you then in the States for before flying back?
Well, I'll chime in on the room part. I wasn't very happy with the hospital, just because with my first journey, the hospital was great. They arranged a separate room for the intended parents and their baby, so they could bond. They had my room where I recovered. With the hospital that we delivered at, Jerome and I, we because it was so busy and so packed, they actually had me in the older maternity wing. They had to open it up because there were so many girls there delivering. And they said they were unable to accommodate and give them a room, which I wasn't very, fond of. I was actually very upset with the hospital and with, my doctor. I know he's at the nurse at the hospital and their staffing and everything. But they ended up having to stay in the nursery with Paul, and then I guess take turns, right, on who would nap and sleep or how.
It's an interesting setup.
Yeah. For us, it was nice because with Paul delivery, we were like in a cloud. I don't know if we say that in English. It's a French expression. We were so happy. So we had just on the nurseries, they arrange like a little space with some buckets, and we were just Paul, Michelle, and me. So we didn't have a bed or something like that. But it was nice. We were in a little, I don't know the word in English. Do you remember the arranged like in a corner? Yes.
The curtain yeah. That's so interesting, Rebecca, that you're like, I wanted better for you. And Jerome, you're like, we had our baby. We were good.
Yes. I remember we had just 2 chairs, but it was like a dream to have our baby. So it was not so, yes. And it's a big memories for us, this little arrangement.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but I think that talking to the hospital in advance and seeing what they're able to set up is always a good idea. So, yeah, I've definitely heard of more complicated kind of endings to how that goes. But I'm so glad that worked out for everybody. We did have somebody jump in. We don't have a question necessarily, but they did bring up Facebook Messenger as a communication tool too. So I don't know if y'all use that in addition to WhatsApp, but I think that's a great thing to mention here too.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's great to know. I feel like WhatsApp Messenger is very similar to Facebook Messenger. So if you have like intended parents that don't have WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger is such a great option. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. They have the video calling capability.
They do, yeah. And just a reminder for folks, we are going to wrap up here in just a few minutes, but if you're watching live and you do have a question or comment, feel free to put it in the chat and we can definitely get to it. But I want to hear, then once you headed home with your baby, what did communication look like from there? Were you speaking quite as regularly as you were during the pregnancy? Were you still messaging pictures and things like that, or what did that look like?
Yes, we share a lot of message, and when we have time, because with the baby at the beginning, sometimes it's difficult. So we experience how the relation of the time is not, it's different when you are parents. So we had a video call on the Sunday when when it was possible, and text, and we share photos about Paul and Rebecca's kids. So yes, we have a good communication, good connection. Yes, and we would like to go to United States, but it was not possible. But as soon as possible, when we will go to United States. We will see each other. Yes, yes, we hope soon.
We've
I
been
hope.
planning this for a very long time.
Yeah, yes, yes, it's a long time.
Sure. Yeah, that
And
reuniting would be really nice.
the time flies so fast. So, but yes, we cross our finger for this summer in July or August.
Yeah, for the next retreat, hopefully.
We hope. Yes.
Great. And then Rebecca, how was it on your end? Did you feel like you were still connected? Did you get the right level of connection that you were hoping for? What did that look like?
Absolutely. Honestly, I know that I experienced a bit more pain, after delivering Paul than I was used to with my other C-sections. But because I had the midwife to support me, she actually came to my house and did basically in-house postpartum visits with me. So it was a very personalized touch. I cannot thank that woman enough. I was mind blown at what midwifery is really all about, and just that personalized touch. But with that support, and then, of course, understanding that Jerome and Michelle, they have a newborn, they're needy, right? They definitely take up a lot of time. I still, felt very connected with them. We shared, a lot of hugs and tears, before they left and went back to France. So
Yeah.
it was a very, like I said, even though I experienced a higher level of pain with that C-section, I still felt very supported by my provider, my family source consultants, by Jerome and Michelle. It was really great.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, I don't want to say my favorite journey, but
From the recovery standpoint, right?
Yeah, a great second journey for me.
Absolutely.
We too. Yes.
And then we had
a wonderful
question.
journey.
Yes.
Yeah, and we did have a question specifically about pumping, which is a topic that we haven't touched on quite yet. So Rebecca, did you pump at all?
I did initially in the beginning. Yep. So basically, before I delivered, I got the go ahead from the midwife to start hand expressing and collecting colostrum. So I would have these little syringes where I would, just suck the little drops of milk that I could get out before delivery. Mm-hmm. And then after delivery, I brought my pumps with me. I had LV pumps from my previous pregnancies, so I was able to, use that, kind of go hands-free a little bit with it. But yeah, no, it was great. We initially, after I started taking the pain medications, is when we decided, we should probably, stop on pumping. They'll switch to formula for him just to make sure that, it doesn't affect him. I did continue to pump though for a couple months after, just to kind of help take off some of the baby weight. I'm one of those rare women, I guess, that that can actually lose some weight after and doing the pumping process. And so I was able to pump a little bit more to try and help, at least in that aspect, since I have capability. But yeah, no, I did it initially for Jerome and Michelle, and then
did you donate the milk when you were pumping again later?
No. So I had thought about doing it, but actually what I ended up doing is I was like making my own soaps and stuff.
Sure.
For me and my family, I use the milk towards stuff like that and milk baths and all
That is a very cool option that I don't think anybody's thinking about as much. So there's so much you can do with it. And I know that getting set up as a donor can be, complicated depending on where you are and what medications you're on and things like that. So, I mean, that's great that you were able to put it to use.
Yeah. And I thought about all that shipping and commitment, I was like, I'm not going to be pumping that long anyways. And
right.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah. The weight thing, I have the opposite problem. So that is,
you see,
everybody's a little different.
I know. I'm like, now I wish I had the capability to pump, or maybe I could lose a few more pounds.
I know, wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
And then just to wrap up, because again, I want to be cognizant of everyone's time here. We are coming to the end of this session. But do you have any particular advice for either intended parents or surrogates as they start on this journey? Maybe they're at the initial stages of matching. What advice would you have for them?
I know for me, for the surrogate side of things, the only thing that I really suggest that always stuck with me that FSC told me was it's very much a stop and go process, and having patience really is the key with the whole journey. Because even Jerome and I, we ran into issues with blood work being a little wacky, and it added 3 extra months to our journey. It was a very prolonged process, but we stuck it through. We stayed determined. So, yeah, that's I guess my only advice really for.
I think that's great advice. Jerome, what would you have for intended parents?
And for me, I think that it's really important to build the relation for all the people and the future babies. So it's important to have a strong connection and to build this relation and to trust each other. So I think the most important is to communicate, I would say a few minutes ago, and to trust each other and to share positive moments and our lives during the process, and to be there if it's possible, because with international intended parents, sometimes it could be difficult. But I think it's for us, it was important to meet Rebecca during the pregnancy and to come after. And I think it's important for the baby to share this with him, to say we meet all the family. And yes, it was important to meet all the family, Rebecca and the kids and the partner, and to share moments with the family. We played with kids football. It was nice just before I remember just the day before he was born. It was nice.
Yeah.
to share good moments. Yes, it's important, I think, for the connection.
Yeah. And I love that trust that you just brought up. I feel like I need you both back to talk about trust on our next session, because I feel like that's such a huge topic that's so important. So I'm glad that you brought that up. Yeah. Well, thank you both so much for your time and for sharing some of your story today. Obviously, it's a little bit different from both perspectives, but I'm so glad we had you both here to have this conversation. I think it's really important for both intended parents and surrogates to be able to see how it can go on both sides. So thank you. And thanks everyone for watching. Again, if you do have additional questions, thoughts, anything you'd like to add or ask about, Rebecca and Jerome's information is on our website to reach out. And so you can definitely get a hold of us that way if you have anything else. So thanks everyone. We appreciate your time today.
Thanks.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.